We know what they want from our region. They want the same things they wanted when they colonized every Asian country. And that is Asian resources. You know, the civilization of the Philippines and China have a long history of peaceful relations. We share the same pain of being humiliated by the Western powers. We both belong to Asia, and the South China Sea is our common heritage. Asian resources belong to Asians. No more dead Asians sacrificed at the altar of Western civilization. Asian peace is peace inspired by the wisdom of our ancestors and the fulfillment of our duty to the future generations of Asians. Asian peace can no longer be the peace of American guns and bombs and arrogance. Asian peace can no longer be the white man's burden. Asian peace shouldn't be the fallout of another mushroom cloud over Asian cities. Obviously, all our attempts to understand the situation in all its aspects is being taken as a sign of being a traitor by those who think that patriotism should be based on hate rather than on what makes us truly Filipino, which is our ability to see things from others' perspective. Which the word kapwa, there's no culture in the world that has the word kapwa or its equivalent. Okay? Kapwa is the self in others. That is the highest supreme Filipino value. Kapwa. Ngayon, in which ethical system in the world is it an act of treason to pursue understanding rather than to be swallowed by the hatred of the masses? Have we forgotten what Martin Luther King Jr. once taught the world when he received his Nobel Peace Prize in 1964? He said, "We must win our opponent's understanding rather than continue to humiliate the opponent. Because seeking to humiliate is to annihilate rather than convert." Have we forgotten what the Holy Bible said? Diba, we are a Christian nation. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons of God. Have we forgotten how the Prophet Muhammad and his followers made peace with the pagans of Mecca through negotiations and a treaty? To our Asian brothers and sisters, from the great old civilization China, let me tell you something about the national psyche of our very young country. Your people have a national identity that can be traced back thousands of years. Our identity is a product of Western colonization. We might be the only one in Asia who didn't defeat our colonizer. We did once, but the Declaration of Independence of 1898 was quickly stolen by the United States. So we are a deeply subjugated people. However, just like you, our Chinese brothers and sisters, we still have unhealed trauma from the past. We cope with this trauma. And I'm just gonna say this, we cope with this trauma by embracing the colonial masters who abused us for centuries because, unlike other Asians, we never went back to our roots but continued to live according to how we were colonized. Now, China, like your near sea, our seas, the sea surrounding the Philippines, had been a source of our vulnerability. With their warships, the West used the sea as the launchpad of their barbarism. We may have forgiven our colonizers, but we have never forgotten what it felt to be humiliated in our land through our seas. The sea we call the West Philippine Sea is the space where we seek the independence we never truly won in our history. The space where we could finally enjoy the euphoria of winning after struggling with a great power. Now, to Filipinos, what we feel about our sea is the same feeling China has over its near sea. It's a source of their vulnerability. It is through the weakness of their sea defenses that China experienced the same kind of humiliation we experience. But they experience worse than us, to be honest. Have we forgotten what our national hero Jose Rizal once said about China? Okay, this is what he said. China will consider herself fortunate if she succeeds in keeping herself intact and is not dismembered or partitioned among the European powers that are colonizing the continent of Asia. But China wasn't so fortunate. China was partitioned by the West among themselves. Then Japan, later on, copied the Western powers. So, unlike us, China was simultaneously occupied by different Western powers. That's the truth of it, no? So while we got passed from one colonial master to another, China served several colonial masters at the same time. So kumbaga sa rape, na-rape lang tayo after ng isa, meron namang isa. So they were gang rape. China was gang rape. So for China, it's South Sea. That's what they call the South China Sea. The South Sea is a sea where it wants to be strong, just like us. So it could never be subjected to the same kind of humiliation. They want to be strong in the same way we want to be strong in the face of the treacherous waters of the sea of our vulnerability. Pero let us remember this. Our common sea isn't only waves of pain. Through its waters flow the long peace our peoples had with each other. China is not just another country to us. China is family. Our great hero Jose Rizal has Chinese ancestry. We share the same blood. Why should we throw away a millennia of peace in order to pursue goals that can be reconciled if you will just be patient enough? During the Spanish colonization, we were fooled by the Spaniards to kill the Chinese. So should we fall again to the spell of Americas, it's either you're with them or against us. So to conclude, let me use what President Ramon Magsaysay once said. The Philippines, hindi niya so sinabi, I'm just reworking what he said. The Philippines, China, and the rest of our fellow Asians have a glorious pre-colonial past. Now, together, we must build a future worthy of that past. We Asians should never, ever forget that the West came to our region not to bring peace, not to develop it, but to divide our lands and seas among themselves, to subjugate our ancestors, and to shamelessly plunder our continents of its riches, to bring material progress to Europe, while our people were maldeveloping and entrenched in deep poverty. We must not let them do this again. We know what they want from our region. They want the same things they wanted when they colonized every Asian country. And that is Asian resources. The civilization of the Philippines and China have a long history of peaceful relations. We share the same pain of being humiliated by the Western powers. We both belong to Asia. And the South China Sea is our common heritage. Asian resources belong to Asians. No more dead Asians sacrificed at the altar of Western civilization. Asian peace is peace inspired by the wisdom of our ancestors and the fulfillment of our duty to the future generations of Asians. Asian peace can no longer be the peace of American guns and bombs and arrogance. Asian peace can no longer be the white man's burden. Asian peace shouldn't be the fallout of another mushroom cloud over Asian cities. It is only Asians that were victims to nuclear bombs, not white people, only Asians. Always remember that. They never dropped this to Nazi Germany. They dropped this to Asian cities. Asian peace is the civilization we lost, which we must reclaim together, patiently together, all under heaven, like the Chinese would say it, with the dignity of seeing each other as kapwa, like how we Filipinos see it. Thank you.